Hello there lovely friends, I'm Del, this is Dishes with Del. It's Sunday, which means we're back in the kitchen and we are making something insane. If you could smell this, you would just be like salivating and wanting to get straight into the recipe. This is beef rendang. I'm going to teach you how to make it. We're making our own paste. We're cooking it all the way through. No shop bought stuff here. This thing is freaking delicious. If you've never had it, you've got to try it. I mean, I think it was once voted the world's best food, and I'll tell you what, they were not wrong. This thing is so fragrant, so delicious, so tender. That's all I'm going to say. And I suppose what you need to do is come along with me and learn how to make beef rendang. All right, rendang. Lots of dry ingredients, lots of stuff to go in. There is a reason it's been voted like #1's world's best curry. I mean, honestly, it's just absolutely incredible. So we need a few things. We need kind of the stuff that we're going to make the paste with, which is this over here, and then a few other bits. So first of all, I've got 600 grams of steak. This is just like stewing steak. As you can see, a little bit of like connective tissue, so there's a bit of fat, there's a little bit of stuff in here, you know, there's a little bit of kind of sinew and stuff. It's usually the slightly cheaper cut of meat at the supermarket, but that's what you want something, because we're going to cook it for, you know, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, so it's kind of low and slow, so you don't want to be using, you know, your fillet steak. We've got coconut cream, 400 mils. You know, it's the one that's a little bit looser as opposed to the one that's got the thick sort of stuff on top. And we're going to add a little bit of water too. I've got 10 kaffir lime leaves. Great if you can get fresh. I couldn't, so I've got dried, which is why I've got 10. If you had fresh, maybe you'd only need 5 or so. I've got 5 red chilies, 2 star anise, 1 black cardamom. But if you can't get that, then you know you can just use the regular cardamom pods like this, maybe like 4. I've got 4 cloves, which are these little guys here. They come whole, you want them whole. And then what would be a whole piece of cinnamon, except it's in little bits. Also some lemongrass, but I'll show you what we're going to do with them in a bit, which is why I've got 2.5. If we had slightly better ones, these were frozen. If I had slightly better ones, again, I might only use 2. Then for the paste, we've got galangal, which is like a ginger, except it's a little bit more sour. If you can't get that or ginger, then you can buy the galangal paste. It like already comes like made, except it's just got lots of stuff in it that isn't really great and I don't really like. So frozen or fresh if you can. We need 40 grams of that, and then I've also got a little nugget of ginger, and I've got 20 grams of that. I've got 30 grams of turmeric, the fresh stuff, and then 1.5 red onions. If you had shallots, maybe like 5 or 6 shallots. And then here is a little piece of palm sugar right for the end, and some tamarind paste. That is all the ingredients, and then we just kind of do it all in a little bit different way. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make the paste. So we'll get the blender out and we'll make this lot into our paste. So all I've done here is just kind of separate them up. So these are all the dry things, so I'm going to put these over there with the coconut cream, the tamarind and the beef, because they're all things we need at the stove. And we also need the lemongrass over there too, but we need to do a little bit of work to that before we add it. So what we're going to do is just get all of these things into the blender. Now, of course, I have quite a big blender. Something like this really is ideal, but you know, you could even probably do it in the NutriBullet, but you would have to chop everything down a lot finer so that it could all thoroughly blend. So we're going to add in the 6 chilies. Obviously they're dried. If you could get fresh, great. You know, probably a little bit more expensive. And also, depending on the heat level that you like it, you might want to add a few more or you might want to add a few less. But these chilies, I've tasted them, I've used them before, and I think that probably 6 is just about right. Then I've got the galangal, the frozen galangal, but all we're going to do is just chop it up into chunks so that the blender can blend it. And the same with the ginger. And the turmeric, I'm just going to cut that too, just in half. The 10 cloves of garlic are already peeled, so they can go there. And then the red onion, I'm just going to chop in half and just take out that root. So all of this is going in. And just before we blend that, I'm just going to sort out these lemongrass. So they were frozen, so I'm just going to take off that outer layer because it's a bit tough and not so nice because they've been frozen. And then what we're going to do is cut off the very root end, and then these pieces here we're just going to finely slice the end, and that bit, the harder root end, I'm going to put into this mix. And then all of these pieces I'm gonna put over there to cook when we're cooking the beef. And the onions are just starting to get me. I cannot wait to blend this because that is gonna be when they get really strong. And then all we need to do to this is just add a little bit of veg oil, just to give it a little bit of something to start blending with. And then we're gonna blend it into a fine paste. And that is the hardest part of the rendang done, really. We don't have to do much more apart from toast some coconut. So I'm gonna show you how to do that in a minute, but we're gonna get this blended and we're gonna put it all over with the other stuff and we're gonna toast off the coconut and then we can start cooking. And there we have our amazing fragrant mix. You just need it to be super blended so that it's a paste and it dissipates when we cook it. Oh yeah, them onions are strong. Here we go. And then this is our final bit. So here I've got 40 grams of desiccated coconut. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly toast it in the pan until it becomes really golden brown. As you can see, it changes quite quickly, so you have to make sure that you really stand there and watch it and turn it. And then we're gonna grind it up in the pestle and mortar to bring out some of the fat and the oils in the coconut. And this coconut, once it's been pounded, I believe they call it Kerisik. Apologies if I've butchered it, but that is like this coconut paste that thickens stuff. So first I want to put the pan on a low to medium heat and we're going to add in the paste that we made. So we put this in and we fry it off in that oil so that it starts to cook and all them aromats start to come out and they start to get cooked too. And when you put that spice mix in, you want to cook it out until it smells super aromatic and is starting to slightly change in consistency, as you can kind of see here. Once that's happened, we're going to add in the beef and we're going to coat the beef in all of that. We're going to also add in them dry spices, so that's the cardamom, the cinnamon, the cloves and the star anise, and they can all start to go in too. I'm going to cook that all for a minute or two. You just want to be careful of the bottom of the pan, as it may start to catch if you've got it too hot. Just be a little bit aware of what's going on. So keep stirring it, keep turning it, and after a few minutes, we're just gonna add in the lime leaves and the coconut milk. And what I'm gonna do with that coconut cream can is fill it halfway again with water and add that in. We're gonna also add in 1 tablespoon of tamarind paste. That's just a little bit of a sour note, and it's just gonna kind of balance everything out. And then we're just gonna let this thing cook and dry out. And it's gonna take about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on how much liquid you've got in there, and also depending on whether your beef is cooked or not. If you get to a point where it's starting to get very dry but actually your beef doesn't feel totally tender, well then add a little bit more water and let it cook a little bit more. Once that's all started to cook down and we're near the end, we're just going to add in the pounded coconut and we're just going to let that cook for the last 15 to 20 minutes. And we're also going to add in, and then we'll just let it cook. And while that's cooking as well, towards the end, I'm going to make a little bit of coconut and lime leaf rice. If you're not sure how to make this, I've got a video on it. Give it a little watch because it's super simple and it's absolutely delicious to have with a rendang curry. And then once it's all cooked and done, we can just get it on the plate, I suppose. God, this looks great. Honestly, the smell is absolutely intoxicating. It just smells absolutely incredible. If you've never made a rendang curry, you're an aspiring cook and you kind of want to make something that just tastes absolutely incredible and feed it up to someone, make this. Honestly, it's great. And here we go. As you can see, super dry. Absolutely crazy. So mental. After about 2 and a bit hours, our rendang is done. So as you can see there, that ground coconut which I added towards the end has become this like thickening bonding agent for the paste to stick to the beef. And you just end up with these pieces of beef that are just absolutely coated in the sauce, which is just absolutely unbelievable. The beef is like so tender, I can push it under my spoon. It's just absolutely insane. So now that we've pulled it off, the only thing that I like to do is to just give it a little taste and see if we need to add any salt or maybe even a touch more sugar. Oh, I mean, it's so fragrant from that lemongrass, from them kaffir lime leaves, from all them spices that are in the background. It's just, you can understand why this was voted one of the world's best foods, because I think that's actually what it was. I said at the beginning maybe curry, but I actually think it's world's the world's best food. But what it does need is a bit of salt, because obviously we haven't put any salt in this whatsoever. We didn't season the meat, we didn't season the paste, absolutely nothing. So that salt will just bring it all together. Like you saw there, I had a tablespoon of the grated palm sugar, but I am just going to add a tiny little bit more. Rendang, it does have a sweetness to it, coming from Indonesia, where they often, where they absolutely love that sort of sweet note anyway. So we'll just add a little bit more in there, give it another stir, and we'll give it another taste. I am actually just going to add even a little bit more salt, because it really just needs that salt in there to bring out the other flavours. But otherwise, I think this is pretty much done. One more taste. Oh yeah, oh my God, that is it. That salt has elevated something that was already absolutely delicious to absolutely phenomenal. Oh, it honestly is so good. That paste is just so fragrant. It may seem like it's a bit of a long-winded process, but I promise you, with stuff like this, it is, if you can make it and you've got the time to do it, and you've got the capability of being able to buy and purchase these items, I mean, why wouldn't you? The packet stuff, the rendang sauce that you can like buy, the paste, it's good, but it's full of all them, it's just full of lots of stuff that maybe you don't really want to be eating, and often it's really highly seasoned to counterbalance the fact that maybe they don't put as much of the other stuff in. So if you've got the time, the patience, and the ability to be able to do it, make it yourself. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So I think it's time that we plated this up. Oh, always spilling stuff. And also what's nice on this rice is just give it a little tiny bit of salt and pepper. Oh, the rice itself, if you've never made it, you really should, because it's like sweet. It's like sweet, it's almost like rice pudding-y, but it's savoury. Oh my God, honestly, I absolutely love it. And then we'll take a big old dollop of this lovely rendang. And just on top of that, I've got a little bit of shredded kaffir lime leaf, just to bring that freshness right in at the end. And now, let's give it a taste. I just cannot wait to get stuck in. Oh my God, that meat is like so soft and so tender. Honestly, I've made some killer rendangs in the past, but this guy, holy hell. It's amazing. That, like, the paste is just coating every last inch of that beef. The rice is absolutely banging. The little bit of fat that's come out of it all is just coating the rice like it would with like Hawanese chicken. You get that chicken fat rice. This is like the beef fat rice. This is like, oh my God. Like, it's the absolute one. There's just enough heat in there from them chilies. The lemongrass and the lime leaves are so incredibly fragrant, and you get all them warming spices in the background, the cloves, the cinnamon, the star anise, the cardamom. Oh my God, honestly, it's just so freaking good. When I film these, often it isn't a time when I can eat my lunch, and today, right now, it's nearly 5 p.m, which means it's nearly not far off dinner time, but oh my God, I just want to eat this whole bowl. Oh my God, honestly, it's so good. I mean, it's so good. Please, please give this recipe a go. Please, because it will not disappoint. I just don't know what else to say apart from bloody give it a go. If you've enjoyed watching me get friggin' excited about food and talking about food, bringing food to you guys and teaching you new things. So if you give me a little like and subscribe, you are never going to miss out on one in the future. And oh my God, get to the shops and go and buy everything you need to make this right now. Honestly, it's incredible. I will see you guys next week, when I don't know if we'll top making something as delicious as this, but I'm sure it will still be exciting. I'm sure we will. So, oh my God, I'm gonna eat a bit more of this. And I'm gonna go. Oh my God, honestly, so good. Get it in your belly, give it a taste, and let me know if you make it in the comment section down below. I would love to know what you think of this beef rendang. So I will see you all next week. Much love, guys. See you soon.